All right, everybody. Coach Gates is going to start with an opening statement before moving on to questions.
I thought our guys did a tremendous job preparing for the scouting report. It was an emotional game simply because this was senior day for the Georgia Bulldogs. I knew Mike White would have his team prepared to play, and they came out, blazing. I thought ultimately they shot a higher percentage in that first half than they normally do. They made some tough shots, but our guys did the same. They didn't hesitate to get back to what we naturally have done. Demoy Hodge was able to get out to a great start. I thought them doubling Kobe until he figured out how to get those assists out of the double, which I thought opened the game up, and Noah Carter's three at the end definitely gave us momentum in the half. Second half, I think the adjustments came down to just personalities, right? I wanted our personalities to come out. I wanted this guy next to me, and I've been saying it all along. He needs to be more selfish, and sometimes the word selfish is a negative connotation, but in our program, if you're too unselfish, that turns the word into selfish. And Nick Honor needs to be able to play off the dribble how he has, and we just basically flipped the court upside down and wanted to go to more ball screens than anything, and we were able to score off the dribble. The substitution pattern is what it is. It was great to have Trey Gomillion come back out in front of his home state, in front of his family, friends, and loved ones to participate and play. But ultimately, it was a team win from top to bottom. Proud of the result.
Questions?
Dennis, what do you feel like changed, second half coming out and hitting like they did from three, especially, what do you feel like changed there?
Well, percentages, they level out at some point, and I thought they had the same looks. They just didn't make them. And we played our defensive rotations the normal way. I just didn't think our guys panicked in that first half when they were able to score. But also we didn't go zone in that second half, which allowed them wide open standstill shots versus shots on the move. So we're just thankful for the outcome to be able to win in an environment where a team was 12-2 at home and be able to give them only their third loss is tremendous on the road.
Dennis, to win a road game by 22 points on a day where Kobe, he didn't take a shot in the second half. What's that tell you about this team and the group you had out there today?
Well, what I'll tell you is this, and you guys don't hear the conversations. Kobe Brown suggested that we play other guys and not himself. How unselfish is that? So sometimes you set up an environment where you're telling players what to do, but our environment is one that's conducive and allows communication back and forth. And his suggestion was taken wisely. I thought he was able to help us, but also we made the halftime substitution pattern. And I wanted Dre Golston become more of a scorer in these last couple games when Trey Gomillion has been out. He turned into a playmaker for others, but he's a great scorer. So we kind of flipped that mindset as well, had Trey start in that second half and have Dre come in. I just didn't want to sub him in too early because the momentum at that point had been going in our favor, and we kept pushing up the lead.
Dennis, how do you feel like this team has grown? Obviously I know the road schedule isn't quite done yet, still one more, but how do you feel like on the road, especially to get a 22-point win and a tough pace to play? How do you feel like they've grown on the road this year?
Well, I look at it one way. We don't look at the scoreboard, and we just try to play our very best every possession. And that's what we were able to do. Ultimately, any win and toward the end of February is important. Any win in our program on the road is important. You cannot just say, hey, you won by this much or that much. I think ultimately the big picture, once we reflect at the end of the season, we'll be able to look at this win on the road as one that helped define continuously who we are as people, but also our improvement between the lines off the court as well.
Hey, Nick, you guys held Georgia to 22 points in the second half there. What do you feel like was the difference for the team defensively there?
I feel like the difference was we got a lot of deflections and just like on-ball steals, like disrupting their offense. I know they're trying to get to the paint, and we stopped them from doing that. And then the pressure causing the miss at the rim as well. So I feel like just us being active, getting back to how we usually play, helped us in the long run.
Dennis, Nick mentioned the production defensively in the paint, but you guys outscored Georgia 32-18 offensively in the paint. How'd you see your guys kind of grow into that game in the lane and get established?
I thought we shot the ball pretty good. We were 14 for 28. So to know that we also was able to score in that paint, you look at the transition baskets, the points off turnovers, those things also count. So you kind of look at it, halfway because some of those were uncontested. Halfway through the game, we noticed that their rotation and their trapping came from below. And we sent those cutters instead of, and it's hard to tell shooters to not space and become cutters. So that's when they made the mental adjustment. But we told them at halftime what to do. We didn't get to the foul line, which is atrocious. 5 for 9 from the free throw line. You cannot put yourself in those situations. And this team is one of the top teams in the conference and country at drawing fouls and getting to the line. And I thought we fouled too much and we were undisciplined in areas.
Hey, Nick, Noah's 3 right before halftime. It's just one shot, but what did that do for you guys going into the break?
Gave us a lot more confidence. We started off the game with a lot of confidence anyways, but that gave us a little extra boost going into the second half. We just felt that if we just stayed strong and stayed together, then things will figure themselves out in the second half. So it was a big shot by him. I thought he should have shot it off the catch.
That first one, right?
Yeah, I thought he should have shot off the catch. Because he knew if he didn't shoot, he was gonna come out. But I'm just happy for him. I'm glad he knocked it down.
Dennis, last week you mentioned kind of the importance of those points off turnovers. You had 32 off of 19. Kind of how important was that in today's game and kind of building that stretch?
Well, Mike White does a good job, and there are certain things that head coaches can't control, and that's sometimes the decision-making or even the turnovers. They have a negative assist to turnover ratio on the season. We knew that if we stayed solid, that the ball was going to come back to us, and we gambled in some occasions, but I thought our guys position-wise were in the right spots, and we shifted when the defense or when the offense forced us to. And ultimately, that's what led to those points off turnovers. We were able to advance the ball. We was able to get spacing, which are all crucial.
Dennis, Kobe Bryant comes to you with that message at halftime saying to go without him. Is there any hesitancy on your part as the head coach to do that, or is the trust level there to kind of what he says goes?
Kobe Bryant played 19 strong minutes, 19 minutes and probably 20 seconds in the first half. So some of that is what he was able to put into the game, but also some things that Georgia took away. Now, what's unselfish is the fact that his IQ was able to see, okay, what can help in this specific game. And he thought at that moment, he only played 9 or 10 minutes in the second half, and he wanted those minutes to be distributed amongst other guys, and guys were able to step up, which I'm proud of. We've said all along, we live in our 8 core values: friendship, love, accountability, trust, discipline, unselfishness, enthusiasm, and toughness. And our guys was able to show glimpses of it, but that unselfish spirit is something that stood out to me.
Dennis, what did you like that you saw from Muhammad early in this game? Obviously a good start for him.
Well, I think Mo gave us a strong 20 minutes. He was 2 for 3 from the field, but also 3 for 4 from the free throw line. Although he had 2 rebounds, his rebounding, he was able to stop and give us some length internally or in the paint that kind of made it tough for Bridges, who was a great post player. But also Mo was able to do some things defensively that I thought with his communication to balance us out.
Yeah, Nick, Coach mentioned, he's been wanting you to be more selfish with the ball. For you, how do you try to balance finding a shot for yourself versus trying to create for your teammates?
I want to hear the answers to this.
Put the pressure on me now, man. I just take what they give me out there. I try to make sure my guys get shots. And then when I feel like I need to score, I score. So that's all I'm gonna give it to you right there.
Man, that's a weak answer. That's a weak answer. I need him more selfish. His team needs him more selfish. We know once he gets a little pep in his step, because he's such a great kid, he's a future head coach at the Division I level. He sees the game a certain way, and he wants his teammates to be happy, right? In that forces him to not be as aggressive as he could, because we have guys on the floor that can score at every position. So he does a great job of managing the personalities, but also when he sees the game a certain way, we just need him to be able to do what he demonstrated tonight, and that opens it up for a lot of people.
Time for one last question.
Nick, I know the video of you guys getting on the plane and stuff, rocking the suits. Whose idea was that? Did that have any impact on y'all's performance?
I think that was, I actually don't know. It might have been Coach Gates' idea.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Or Chase Goldstein as well.
No, we're gonna say Coach Gates.
But nah, it was good. I mean, mostly people see us in uniforms and all that. I mean, basketball uniforms and all that. So it was good to finally dress up a little bit. And I mean, you can still see our personality through us dressing up, get on the plane. So it definitely helped us, I say a little bit since we won. So I guess it helped.
I'll say this. I want these guys to be able to be professional, not just basketball players, but professional in life. It helps them. It gives them confidence. Sometimes the small things add up to big things. And those guys, probably spent more time posting pictures and looking in the mirror before we left than any other time, because it was their first suit travel trip. And ultimately, that's what we want to do. We want to expose them to different parts of the world, but also put them in different situations. And, they enjoyed it. On this trip, we have our Excellence Society, some donors, boosters, but also our family, friends, and loved ones, so that our players can see us as husbands, as fathers, not just coaches. I think that's very important as we continue to develop the young people we're developing. And they do a great job. Our siblings or our kids and they treat them like siblings, and they call them big brothers, and you should see the relationships that they have. So it was a total business trip, and I think our guys approached it that way and completed it that way.
All right, thanks, Coach. Thanks, Nick.
MIZ.